because I'm about to vent about hood rats. I live in a quaint little area, and it didn't have very many brothers and sisters in it. Okay, one, maybe two. And my guess is that the lending situation opened the gates up for what is now our new neighbors. Well, it started off bad. In general, Creaky is a more compassionately generous person than I am. He gives the benefit of the doubt more generously than I. Because I base my, just for the record, I base my judgment on character and behavior and traits, personality traits, which would hence make them more accurate most of the time. At any rate, just so you know, before they even moved in good, as soon as we saw who was moving in, not what color they were, as soon as we saw who was moving in and how wild and rambunctious their little bastards were, we had already set aside the notion that we would get a fence until it was more readily affordable and we could get exactly what we want and the privacy level that we want. As soon as we saw them running rambunctious, 2 days later, you can best believe the fence company was in the drive to give us an estimate on the fence, and they had it up less than a month or two later. So immediately I knew that we had to push up our urgency on getting a fence. We got a fence. That didn't stop anything. They seem to think the yard is a bike path, driving all up in the driveway and carrying on. Asked them a good 5 times, would you please, and you know, kids will be kids. We don't care anything. Okay, you run up in the driveway every now and then, you turn around the driveway, do what you have to do. But the yard is not a bike path. Don't take care of our yard the way you take care of yours. Respect our property. So, after being told several times, they opted not to listen. Because why? Why? Why do they have to listen? Mama's a hoe and daddy's a trick ass. Because their parents are hood rats too. Misguided, adult-aged hood rats. So, at one point, Creaky's going to the hardware store to get some work on a project, taking care of the property, respecting what we work hard for. Again, he has to ask the boys. Well, there's more than just boys, but he has to ask the boys in particular, you know, please not ride in the yard. Well, as soon as he pulls off, he recognized the look in one of their eyes, and he knows that they're gonna, as soon as he turns the corner, because they see him leaving. And he knows as soon as he turns the corner, they're gonna ride back through the yard again. So he calls me on the phone. Do me a favor. Look out the window and see if they are riding the bike in the yard. Well, I already know. I already know you're the one that want to give people the benefit of the doubt that have time and time again proven themselves. But I digress. So I look out the window, sure enough. So I raise up the window. Creaky just asked if you would please not ride in the yard. What's that gonna do? I don't know, but that's all I got for him. So, on a whole separate occasion, another day, and thank God Creaky's home to see it, because all I can do is tell him, and every time I already know every time I tell him something, he's going to assume that I'm just thinking the worst of every little thing, so I don't ever say anything. So, he has to go and tell the boys once more. Ask the boys not to ride through the yard. So he goes over, they run over, drop the bikes, run in their backyard, like they weren't doing anything. So he goes back there and says, you know, I asked you not to ride through the yard. So one of them starts running in the house hollering, Mama. So he's going to tell his mama. Because as we soon find out, his mom does not mother him. So of course he's going to run and tell his mom. She's probably the type of person that somebody in school tell him he's acting up and her son ain't doing nothing. Her kids are not doing anything wrong. She probably raised the same kind of little twit that beat up that teacher, the little girl that called herself beating up the teacher in the classroom, who had a little ass whooping coming herself, if I must say so myself. That 40-year-old woman held her own. I just want to say, you know, kudos to you for defending yourself, teacher lady. But anyway, so she comes out and asks him to go to meet her on the front porch, which is not a problem. I'm glad it's him and not me, because I already know this is the type of hoe that you cannot have an adult conversation with. You have to have this conversation with the brick in your hand if you're going to have to do it. And then what's she going to do? She going to pull out the gun because she don't have any intellect to be able to have an adult interaction either. And then it's going to be escalated, and for what? Both of you Negroes are going to go to jail. But anyway, good thing it was him and not me. So he goes over and he has the whole conversation. She basically says that we're not to say anything to her children, no matter what. So the ultimate bottom line is, he says, and for him to say this, he is very, very, you know, God bless the person that takes his kindness for his weakness, but he has so much kindness in him, it could be easy to do. But he says, oh no, if your children are in my yard destroying my property, I'm going to say something. And then she switches the script and turns it into the precious children. And she says, this is not the first house we've had. Nobody asked her about the first house they've had. She must know that she don't know anything about respecting property and or building a home. For her to use that defense, that didn't have anything to do with how you raise your damn children. So then she started talking about the precious children and all this, and she got a daycare center. Yeah, they got a fake ass daycare van that sits out front and goes nowhere, and because they don't have they don't parent their own children. Ain't no way they can parent some other people's children. So anyway, bottom line is, of course it continues, and there's even a situation where Creaky calls me one day and I'm sitting at home. This is when I got out of the hospital. So I'm like, I'm on crutches and hardly able to walk. So I'm sitting talking to him on the phone. I hear a big ass bang on the bedroom wall, the side of the bedroom wall. A big ass bang, like not some people playing baseball and the little ball hit the whatever. A big huge bang. So I call him, because when I go out and address him, I want him to hear the whole thing, because he's still in benefit of the doubt mode. And I want to be like, dude, these hood rats are stupid. So I walk out, I call him and make sure he can hear everything. I walk out to the back, through the back, and go around to the front. And it's him, it's the dude. And I say, excuse me. He don't look at me. The boys look at him like, you know, it's the lady talking to you. I said, excuse me. He faces the other way. One more time. Let's see how he handles this in front of the children. Excuse me. Then he turns around, scratches his head. Could you please not hit the side of the wall with the ball? You know what this trifling dude says? He says, we only hit it once, we ain't gonna do it no more. Talking about him and the boys. And this was a basketball. How do you hit the side of my house with a big ass basketball? What were you doing throwing a basketball in this direction? And even if you have a hoop, your hoop is in your driveway on the other side next to your other neighbors. How did your basketball get upside the wall of my bedroom? But I didn't say all that. I turned around after he said, we only hit it once, we ain't gonna do it no more. Like that was okay. But I turned around and I left. I just wanted to make sure Creaky heard, so he don't think I'm exaggerating every time I got a story to tell him.